Hello and welcome, Regent Parent community. I'm Amber Singh, and I am the Career and University Counselor for Fortis Education. And if you can see what I'm wearing, I am wearing it on purpose. It's not a secret jacket, it's not a uniform, but I did happen to have this special color today. And for my introductory meeting with all parents, I wanted to make sure I have the appropriate jacket on. So today we're going to talk about all things career and university guidance here at Regent. So just a broad overview about why career education matters. I think you know why it matters, but just so that it's clear that we sort of have a mission as well in career and university counseling, is that we know it's important to begin to think about career and giving students the right information as they move through secondary and as they move to tertiary education is just something that's important. It can help kids make the right decisions about courses. It can help kids find universities that are the right fit for them. And of course, it doesn't hurt that just hearing terminology that works that is used in the workplace, that they begin to understand that language, because it sometimes is different language than schooling language. So university guidance, that also starts in secondary. I'll go into that a little bit more in terms of at what age group and what year group that is good for. But it is something that we also do. And even before thinking about university, the career and university guidance helps kids choose their options and helps them understand the different pathways that you can have while in secondary school and how those pathways lead to certain courses at university, or how those pathways might lead to certain universities. So, that's in a nutshell what we do as sort of our mission, if you will. So we have a mission, very obviously, but we also need to talk about things that we do for our school community. So what is it exactly that we will do for your students? So obviously we have sessions like this, Rise at Regent, and that is meant for parents to become informed about all things career and university related. So these sessions will happen a couple times throughout the year. And obviously, as your child moves through to the older grades, and especially when they get to year 12 and 13, when we're doing applications, we hold these sessions every 2 weeks. But for now, it's not every 2 weeks. You'll see me a couple times this year. All right, we are also doing our Think and Thrive speaker series. This is something that we started at Sunmark. Now this is our third year doing this at Sunmark. And we are starting this here at Regent tomorrow. And we have one of our first year 10 students, Ahan, who is going to be interviewing somebody, and we'll let you know who that is. But it's he's somebody that works with the Indian cricket team. He's a psychologist, and we are doing that tomorrow. And then we will share that interview, that Think and Thrive session, with our school community once that is complete. So on a day-to-day level, I'm here on Wednesday afternoons for the most part, and I will schedule individual student meetings. Those will start primarily with year 10 first, and then we will meet with year 9 students, especially when they're choosing options for GCSE. So, and as students progress through the secondary, when they get to the older grades, we do have a specific career and university portal that they will have access to at that time. It's called Unifrog, and it will be used mostly by year 12 and 13 students, but it has lots of good things. But we're still a bit of ways from that, but we will obviously take information for that. In addition to that, we will hold student assemblies. So I've already held a few last year, and this year we had our first student assembly last week. And at any point, kids can come and see me. I went around to the classrooms last week and just introduced myself and said, I'm the Career and University Counselor, and if you want to come and see me at any point, this is how you reach me. So in addition to that, you may be aware of some of this already, but I'm also the one that provides you with information about work experience. So last year, for example, we launched something called Take Your Child to Work Day for especially the younger year groups. And it's something that we will reintroduce this year. This won't happen until July, or late June or early July. And then also I share with the school community across both campuses information about summer programs that might be of use that you might want to undertake if and when they are relevant to our students. So I know there's a question about this, and I'll get back to the questions at the end, but I just kind of wanted to put in context how you as parents should be thinking about career and university guidance. So in years 7 to 9, this is that first stage when students are in secondary, and there is a lot that changes. It changes for you as parents, and it also changes for students. There's just a lot of change that happens in the brain, and your children go from becoming kids, really children, to becoming young adolescents. And that's a whole process in and of itself. So in year 7 to 9, it's really important that kids just begin to figure out how to be in high school and how to be in a secondary environment. It's about this transition, the new expectations, the higher expectations, but we do want to expose them to career education, and so that's part of my role as well. But just so they have an idea of where year 7 to 9 should be. And obviously, when we run our Take Your Child to Work Day, it's something that they should be absolutely involved with. So in year 10 and 11, we begin to focus more deeply. So that's when we start to develop key career skills. They begin really to chart out their pathway to university in terms of choosing options, choosing the pathway that they might want to undertake at year 12. And even in year 10, when you start to have to make decisions about, maybe I'm interested in medicine, so what does that mean? What do I need to do at year 10? Those are important conversations. And then by the time they get to year 12 and 13, they need to be speaking with university officials on a regular basis. They need to attend uni fairs. They really should be involved with research activities. When they're doing A-levels, they should be doing the EPQ. And this is kind of a nice chart for how you can view it, the process from year 10 to year 11, and then into year 12. And obviously in year 13, that's when applications start. So if you just want to take a moment to look at what I call the road to the top universities, but it certainly applies to any child entering year 10 in terms of what they need to be thinking about. All right, in summary, it's about building not just an academic profile, but it's also about building a personal profile. All right, I know this is a question that will come up. Fortis Education, of course, has been around for a very long time, and we have a very strong history of placing students. This is just a small list of where our students have gone on to. By and large, the 4 countries that are of most interest are the UK, Canada, the Netherlands, and the United States. Question I get a lot as well is about rankings. Now, I've got some thoughts about this. Bottom line is, if you're going to look at rankings, it's fine. It's a nice list. It's got 1, 2, and 3. We all like it. It's fine. Times Higher Ed, QS, and US News and World Report are the 3 that we use. But I need to always remind you that rankings isn't everything. It really is not. And I don't want people to get too caught up in, I must get to Harvard. Right? Harvard is not the only university in the world. There are tons of very robust research universities that do an excellent job at getting kids ready for their future careers. So just lists are fine, rankings are fine. I have no issue with them, but be mindful that they are not the only schools in the world, and that there are a lot of plenty awesome options, out there for your child that will fit both your family's. It's be financial fit, an academic fit, and it will be a social fit. Like it's a place that you want to go to. All right. And my last slide is I did receive some questions from parents beforehand, so I'll quickly try to answer those. So there was a question about year 10. This is about guiding your students, so your children, I should say. In general, if you go back to what I said, nobody knows what their career is going to be at this age. We all know that. We're all adults. Careers change. The only exception to that would be things like becoming an engineer or becoming a doctor, or maybe even a lawyer, although that can change. Because, for example, becoming a doctor really means that you have a real interest in the human body and what it does and how it functions and how it can heal. And you are absolutely 100% interested in sciences. You're excelling in sciences. That's a pretty clear path. The same thing with engineering. So if you're not interested in math or physics, chances are that that may not be your area as well. But there's no such thing as sort of guiding them down one path. I strongly encourage you to listen to what your child wants, what their interests are, where they're doing really well, because where they're doing well might give you an indication of perhaps what career path lies ahead. So, for example, if they're absolutely into physics and mathematics and they love this and they actually love it and they're reading about it, they might want to be an engineer. But if they're not displaying that, then maybe we need to think about different careers. Later on in the year, I'll do sessions about different jobs that are out there. It is so exceptionally wide. It's not just about being, a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, because most people and most extremely successful people are not doing any of those things. So options open, and your children, they will get there. They will definitely get there. And you just have open and honest conversations. All right. In terms of tools, when they get older, we do have our portal, and we've got some nice, sort of nice personality quizzes that the kids can take. I will sit down and do that with most of the year 10 and most of the year 9 students throughout this year. They're fun. They can tell you something, but again, they don't tell you everything. So yes, there are tests that you can take. There's, like I said, we have something, a personality quiz that will give you a direction, but it certainly doesn't close the book on anything. The question about Arabic A in terms of local universities. So local universities, there are some really, really good options in the UAE. In particular, for example, NYU Abu Dhabi is an excellent option. The requirements will vary. They will certainly take A levels. In addition, some universities here, they will require something called an MSAT, which a student would register for when they're in year 13. It's a subject-specific test. But it is a burgeoning field, universities here in the UAE, and watch this space because there's some really interesting things going on. So for today with year 10, I shared, this is an example, there is a session at Heriot-Watt on becoming an aeronautical engineer. And Heriot-Watt University here in Dubai, they run these sessions all the time. You're free to join them and you can explore them as you will. And I've shared the registration information with year 10 today. All right. So you can, this is how you reach me, and I'm here in person, but I certainly can be reached either on email or through Outlook or on Teams at a.singh. And that's it from me today. And I'm going to close off here and see if there's any more questions. Okay, I think I could answer this. LinkedIn. So we start doing LinkedIn. We require it in year 13. It's fine if it starts in year 12. I mean, I don't have a problem with kids doing it in year 10. But right now, at the moment, at Sunmark, it's an activity that year 13 undertakes. It's kind of one of the final things that they do before they graduate. I ask them to create a LinkedIn profile. Okay, what age? I mean, ultimately, at the end, it could start as young as 3, but really, in terms of the next step, if you have a small goal, think about, okay, where is that child going to university? So career planning, we begin to deal with it already in secondary, but because kids, again, they'll change so significantly between 15 and 25. So we don't want to lock them in yet, but certainly you could focus them, if you don't know what they're doing, focus them on, okay, in 4 years, you're going to university. Let's figure out where you're going. Then that's step number 1. Step number 2 is then what's happening in university, right? But we do begin our career education at a young age. Right? Are there other questions? Hopefully I've been able to answer everything for parents. And please do feel free to reach out to me.